No!
Okay, now that I have it where I want it, I simply hit select again, and now it takes me to the number of cells. So I got a 3-cell battery, so you can't increase it, it's at 6 cells, so you decrease it, now you're at 5, 4, and now 3. That's where I want to be, and now I hit select, and now it's set up properly. Now, hit select, the first thing it's going to take you to is amps. So I'm going to decrease it, because you got the decrease and increase buttons, I'm going to decrease it to 4. Okay, now that I have it where I want it, I simply hit select again, and now it takes me to the number of cells. So I got a 3-cell battery, so you can't increase. Is the start button over? Ask you to hit start or enter again, so that way it knows you really want to charge it. And there you go, now it's starting to charge. So that was just a brief introduction on the Venom Pro Duo charger and how to charge a battery simply. There's a lot more features of this charger, so if you want to learn a little bit more about it, I recommend looking at the manual in the box. It'll teach you a little bit more about the charger. And I also want to point out some of the different accessories.
Doors here. Today, what I'm going to be doing is a part 2 to the how to use the Venom Pro Core charger. I'm doing this video as I was just reviewing one of my, the how to use the Venom Pro or the cycling feature. So of course I have my 2000 milliamp hour 7.6 enter charge. You're just going to do current to
Hey, it's Luke. Today on Out of Darts, we are going to show you how to properly charge your LiPo battery. Let's get going. One of the more common emails I've been getting recently is how do I charge my LiPo and what current rate to charge a specific LiPo on. Now I realize this is actually fairly confusing for a lot of new people because there are so many different chargers, so many different types of batteries, and a lot of different information out there. Now the first thing I want to say is that safety is extremely important. LiPo batteries exploded, punctured, overheated, overcharged, or over-discharged. All of those conditions can be dangerous. Please read below the full safety briefing I have, as well as read your manual. No matter what charger you get, you absolutely should be reading your manual, and you should always follow the instructions here. They supersede anything that I say because the manufacturer definitely knows better than I do. So today I'm going to show you how to charge LiPo on 2 different chargers and how to select all the settings and whatnot. We're going to look at the SkyRC G3, a Darts charger that I've got in the shop, an S60 also by SkyRC, a more advanced charger, and then a very advanced charger from ISDT D2. This is my personal charger. These range in price here from about $18 or $20 to about $40 or $50 to $120 plus, depending on the time. Side note, you have to excuse my hands. I've been gardening and I keep mangling them, so I take care of your hands some days. So starting off with the most basic thing, the first thing you want to do is look at your manual for your battery and determine how fast you should be charging your battery. You never want to charge your battery faster than you need to. It will increase wear on the battery and it can be potentially dangerous. You are always safe with any LiPo battery doing 1C, and that is pretty much universal. So in the case of this battery, to look at the math, this is a 0.95 graphene, so 1C would be 0.95 amps. 1C on a 2200 milliamp pack would be 2.2 amps. So that's a very safe low charge. And on this pack, this is a 1.5. That would be 1.5 amps. Now, most of these in the manual will tell you they can do much, much faster. For instance, this 0.95 can actually do a 5C charge according to the instructions. So we can very safely do nearly 5 amps on this 0.95. One of the biggest confusions I run into with customers is the confusion between capacity, which is milliamp hours, versus amps, the actual charge rate. Amps is the current flowing into your pack or out of your pack. Amp hours is the capacity rating based on the rate of 1 amp per certain number of hours. This is a 500 milliamp hour pack, a huge 3S pack, and this, or also known as 5 amp hours. So if you pulled on this battery at a rate of 1 amp, it would last 5 hours. If you pulled at a rate of 5 amps, it would last 1 hour. Now, there are some inefficiencies there depending on what you're using and charge level, but that's the basic math. So the larger the number, the more capacity. Let's talk really quick about safety. I always use these LiPo safe bags or a large steel container to charge LiPo. The way this is done is you simply plug your battery into your charger and then put the battery inside here while charging. Air can get in and out. That way, if there was an issue, it can vent. But this can literally save your house or your garage. I also never recommend charging a battery without being in the house present, running the same room ideally. Another option is to charge outdoors, not in the sun, or to charge with an extension cord in the middle of a garage on a floor. That's another very safe location to charge because you're away from combustible items. It's also very important to use a LiPo alarm only when you're using your blaster. Do not leave these in overnight, as they will kill the battery over time. Next, I'd like to talk about balance charging. That garners a lot of confusion at times. Balance charging is simply charging equally and individually the individual cells that are in your battery. This is your main power lead, usually an XT60 in the NERV hobby, and this is your balance lead. Now, the balance lead consists of one wire for each cell and a common, which is connected to each cell. So if you read across the voltage across the black and any one of those other three wires, you will get the individual voltages per cell. Now, a balanced charger that you should be using is capable and requires this connector. It will charge via this connector, or it will potentially monitor both, depending on the quality and how good your charger is. So we will start off with the most basic charger. This is very, very simple. You'll see there are no options except a 2S plug and a 3S plug on front. All you do for a charger like this is plug in until it turns on. It will start charging, and it indicates all three lights are going. When those are done, they'll go green individually, so this is a balanced charger. This charger is not capable of discharging, but I do find that after a day of play, I'm fine to use the battery all day, then store it. It is okay to store batteries at a non-storage charge, but you will increase the internal resistance and decrease the negative capacity of the battery over time. So that's all you do on this basic charger. If I was charging a 2S, it's the same thing, it's just a different plug. And this time we will only see two lights light up because there are only three wires here, the common and two individual cells. So that's all there is to this charger. Now again, I will charge this inside a bag like this, and wait for it to be done. Make sure to charge this. Moving on to a more advanced charger is the XT60 charger. It is capable of charging a single battery at a time, and it consists of a balance cord, plug, and the main XT60 need to charge. There are adapters for a wide variety of different plugs. The polarity of here matters. We want to match positive with positive, negative with negative. This charger is pretty basic still. It's air cooled in case it produces any extra heat, which is important when you're charging faster, since we do have additional options. It also features a balance port. To start charging this pack, we're going to first plug in our balance connector, and we're going to start with the common, which is again black there, and cells 1, 2, and 3. You can see the line up there perfectly. Then we're going to plug in our XT60 lead. Now, not to worry, this charger will not start charging until you tell it to do something. There are a lot of options in this charger. It's very important that you go through and select the type of battery you're going to have. Now, we are going to charge specifically a LiPo, so I'm going to hit enter. It is then going to allow me to change amps, cell count first. So before you've done anything, you can switch from 2S to 3S to 4S. This charger is not automatic sensing as far as the cells, so we do need to set it to match. It is a 3S pack. We've set it to 3S. Then when we hit start, we're going to get our current rate. Since this is a 2.2 amp battery, and I'm not in a rush to charge it, I might actually set that to 2.2 amps. That would be a 1C charge. 1C is always safe, and it is always easy on your batteries. A 1C charge will always charge your battery in about an hour or less. Generally,
you're taking a nap in there.
It's just going to be a little bit higher than a totally empty battery. Now, this pack is also capable of up to a 5C charge. Some packs can do even faster. A 5C charge on this one would be 11 amps. That's 2.2 times 5. But we're going to go nice and low and slow, so we're going to hit start. It's going to give me one more opportunity to change the the cell count. And then after that, we're going to hold start, and it's going to check that everything matches. And it's going to let us start charging. Now at this point, we are good to go. We would then, of course, throw it back in our LiPo bag, connect it to the charger still, of course. And from there, you can monitor what's going on. We can look at the end voltage, which is an option to adjust. Generally, I always leave these chargers where they were factory set. They are factory set to very safe ranges, and that's generally where I would go. But 12.6 is normal for a fully charged LiPo. We can look at the individual cells. We'll eventually get to see the resistance there as well. The internal resistance will display below. And this is giving us a percentage as well, which is probably fairly inaccurate. But that being said, that is all there is to this. There's also a safety timer on this one that will allow you to override and manually shut off automatically when it hits that timer, just in case. I generally don't charge while unattended. I like to charge when I'm in my warehouse or in my garage in a safe place where I know it's not flammable. And that's really all there is to it. This will beep at you when it's done. You can simply unplug the battery and you're good to go. This is my favorite little charger. This is the T2 from ISDT. It is very similar to the S60. The one advantage that it has is a little bit more diagnostic, a few more manual features, and I can plug two at once. So it's cell detection saying that there are 3 on the bow, and this is a very similar thing. I've got it set pretty low here, but I'll go all the way up to basically max on this guy, because 12 amps is the max per channel. That's only a little over 2C on this pack, so we can actually do it much faster. So again, do refer to your manual to actually see the fastest that they are meant to be charged. Some of the batteries will tell you right on here. Usually it's somewhere between 1 and 5C. There are some specialty batteries that can do much faster. Again, here, this is very simple like the other one. You can choose battery type and other parameters, individual cell voltage, how high you want it to actually charge. But again, 4.2, which is 12.6 total on a 3S, that's generally what I go to. Next up, we're going to talk about storage charging. Storage charging is the act of putting the battery to a lower charge. This charge is both safer for the battery as far as explosive or fire generating energy, and it is better for the internal resistance of your battery, which will help the long-term capacity. Now, I generally won't storage charge my batteries if I'm planning on using them in, say, just a week. But if I'm going to set them down for more than a week, then that's my general rule of thumb. Storage charging is just like charging. You're simply going to plug your battery in, the correct ports, hopefully. And we're going to go through the options. On this charger, we're going to go over to LiPo storage. We are still on 3S. And as far as the discharge rate, now this causes even more confusion because discharge rates are completely different from your normal rate. Your discharge rate is more like your blaster side. It's the max current that the pack can take. Now there's no reason to overstress the pack, so low and slow at a couple C is fine. 2.2 would be 1C. That's pretty darn slow, so we're going to go considerably faster than that because I know the pack can handle plenty more than 1C. And really, this is, I'm going to go with the max this pack can do, that's 6 amps. I would, if you have time to play around, do it slower. Slow is always better if you can do slow. So then I held that. So this is just like as if this was connected to your blaster and you were firing the rev trigger. Because it's going to go at 6 amps on the max. Since this is a amp hour pack, 6 amp is what I just set this to. That is the equivalent of just 3C. This battery can handle up to a 60C burst. So it's still, the discharge setting on this charger is still very, very low when it comes to it's very, very safe. Now, as I said before, the E3 simply cannot do storage charging, so if you were using one of these E3 chargers, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just keep in mind when you charge your batteries, don't charge too many extra batteries. Charge what you think you can use. Use the battery until your LiPo alarm goes off, and then store it safely in your LiPo battery. Is the same as the storage charging. So the storage charger is just going to go up to storage. You can see the cell voltage target is 3.8. This is adjustable, and 5 amps. nicely. If I go to 8.8, that is so now we are headed into storage charge. You'll hear the fans ramp up. Pulling a current from the pack. It has to dissipate that heat. This one will beep at you real loud when you're done, and that's all there is to discharging. So to recap, no matter what charger you're charging,
Charging a battery can be a little bit daunting because it does have dire consequences if you don't get it right. But stay tuned. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. G'day, you absolute legends. Stu from UAV Futures here, and today, this video, we're going to be going through a bit of a charging guide, charging batteries in 2023. What does it entail? We're going to be breaking down the steps, talking about, what is a battery,